Good evening, everyone, and welcome. First, we'll get into it and do the invocation and pledge. Commissioner Van Tucker, everyone please stand.
Thank you, sir. May I pray? Our Heavenly Father, thank you for the goodness, the mercies, bountiful life you've given us all, the blessings of each day, and all your goodness, mercy in it. We ask, Lord, that you go with us tonight, be with us, all that we do, give us discernment here through the Surry County business. And Lord, we thank you for everybody involved in Surry County, for everyone, the department heads and all the folks here, and the folks representing us here tonight, fighter fires, and do our rescue, emergency services work, and Lord, law enforcement, all the other services that it takes to make a county the good place to live in that it is. We thank you for these folks. Lord, we ask that you bless us, guide us as we discern how to get there and do it most efficiently for our constituents, that all we do would be in your will and to your honor and to your glory. We praise you, O Lord, in Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Tucker. First, we have the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Motion by Commissioner Tucker, second by Commissioner Goins. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. And we actually are having a meeting tonight. This is not April Fool's, okay? So if we say anything you don't like, that's April Fool's. So, thank you all for being here tonight. And we'll first get started with the Surry County Association Rescue Squad's budget request. Mr. Austin Love, welcome, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. So you'll notice this year, the rescue squads did put in our applications through Neighborly. Between all our squads, there were 3 different applications. The first I want to address is the one for the association overall. So as you guys have probably seen, the rescue squads have seen some substantial growth over this last year, over the last several years. We've seen Mountain Park Rescue Squad begin the planning and construction of its new building. Pilot Mountain Rescue Squad has moved into its new center. And the other squads have seen either upticks in calls or they're seeing growth in their capacity in other ways. And so that is part of what the other 2 applications are. One is for Mount Airy Rescue Squad, one's for Elkin Rescue Squad. And that is them trying to make their first step towards establishing a paid person to cover those peak hours. And so I came and spoke a few months ago about volunteerism, and we've had a lot of efforts behind getting that going too. But we're also still missing that gap during those peak hours that the squads, Elkin and Mount Airy being the busier 2 of the 5, are trying to cover. The good news is that Mount Airy Rescue Squad has already secured half of the funding for a paid person from the city of Mount Airy. They were able to share that with me. And so their contingency plan is if the county isn't able to help out with that other half, is they're going to try to work out a part-time program to bridge that until the funds make their way through. Elkin Rescue Squad, as you know, has been working towards their own sustainability with their transport service, and that's been able to bridge a lot of gaps for them. Their goal that they have shared with me in their plan is that they're asking for some assistance this year, but they expect that ask from the county to actually go down. The transport service they have been able to manage efficiently enough that they think they'll actually be able to sustain that paid person for peak hours in the years to come. Their goal was just to try to get some assistance now and keep that going. But for the rest of the budget, a lot of it is we capped our increase at 7.5%. That doesn't necessarily keep up with the expenses and stuff that we've been experiencing, inflation and whatnot. But we also are, the rate of growth that we have seen on the rescue side is, it's pretty substantial. We have tried to put ourselves out there and make that known to show the community what we're doing. and show them, all the progress that we have been making, whether it's the volunteer front or otherwise. And so if you guys have any questions about the applications or anything, I'll be happy to answer those for you guys.
Any questions, Foster? I don't have a basic question, but I just want to thank you all for stepping up and improving the programs and working hard to get the name out there and the work that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. All right, next, Volunteer Fire Department's budget's request, and we're going to start out with, let's have that paper. Central Surry. Don't look around, it's you.
Well, I apologize in advance because my treasurer was supposed to be here with me with all the books and everything, so.
What do you wanna wait a few minutes?
Somebody else can go.
Yeah, it'd be great because he's on his way. He's just a little
Okay.
run behind. That's okay.
Pine Ridge, are you ready? All right.
What did I do with that paper?
How y'all doing?
Good, how you?
Good, good. I don't think we got for this year. We'd like to apply for the 50,000 again. Last year we got it and it really helped us. And we still got a few more projects we'd like to try to finish up around the station. If it's possible, I know there's probably other people want to apply for it too. Just letting you know, we pour concrete in front of the bays. We're finishing up right now. I think she got the rest of our bills. One of them does. We painted and put down flooring, redone the bathrooms, fixed the shower that we use it for a closet for probably 30 years. But we like to do a little bit more around the station. We need to seal the parking lot. We need to do that. We need to we want to replace the sign. If any way possible, we'd like to apply for it again. Other than that, I ain't got nothing else.
Y'all get the grant last year.
Yes.
No tax, we had no tax increase request.
Well, if you want to give us a little bit,
No, just making sure.
On your,
that April Fools.
Yeah.
on your 990, are y'all in progress on getting your 990 form?
Should have it.
Should have it. Don't have you down on here, but.
Yeah,
Should
yeah.
Should have it. Okay.
I think Brenda supposed to take care of that.
If you could send me a copy,
Yeah, okay.
that would be wonderful.
I know, Jimmy asked for it too. I don't know if you got yours or not, but yeah,
Thank you.
Brenda both send that with the audit stuff, she said.
Okay. Okay. I'll check that then. Thank you.
If not, let me know.
Okay.
I
Thank
got
you.
this.
Yeah, man, you got something for?
Well, this that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, they each have that, but not a copy of the budget request sheet. But you said that's been mailed in, right? From Brenda? Huh. Okay, I didn't see it today, but I'll check. Maybe it went in my junk folder. I'll check. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, Mountain Park. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having us. My name is Michael Marr. I'm Assistant Chief with Mountain Park Fire Department. Been there about a year now. Grayson Cox to my right and Jeff Billett to our left. He's the chief and another assistant chief. I'd like to give you kind of a state of the union of Mountain Park Fire Department, and I will make it brief. Mountain Park Fire Department has the largest area of operation in Surry County at 63,000 or 63 square miles. Our tax rates have dropped since the year 2000 at 0.098 to a fire department initiated drop to 0.870 in 2003. The tax rate dropped again in 2008 to 0.770, and we've not had any increase in 20 years. Our current tax income is approximately 148,000 from the county. And as you're very well familiar with, the cost of doing business has went up, considerably in the last 10, 20 years. I would like to review a little bit about the survey findings that you guys had done. Even though we're a very small department, our department responded to 92.68% of the fire calls, 95% of the medical calls, and you can refer to that on page 201. The average response time is 13 minutes and 55 seconds, and that's on page 196. That just happens to be the longest in the county. And the reason why it's the longest in the county is because our district is so large. And that will also directly relate to wear and tear on a lot of our vehicles. As you know, you've been to Mountain Park, the roads aren't the absolute best there. So that is another contributing factor to some of our issues with replacing apparatus and equipment.
Of the new bridge.
Wonderful.
Great, yeah.
Absolutely wonderful.
It was a headache for a lot of
We're
people.
pretty proud of that.
Yeah,
actually.
everybody celebrated on that one.
I guarantee it.
I just want to give you kind of a rundown of our equipment. We have a 1986 Chevrolet tank or engine. It's the only engine that's at our substation located at River Road near Devotion. This truck is 39 years old, and it does cover, that is the single engine that covers half of our fire district at 39 years old. So that's somewhat of an issue at this
That's where
point.
the $50,000 we got from y'all, that's went to the new station. Been up for about 2 years.
We have a 2007 International tanker that's 18 years old, a 2008 Ford brush truck that's 17 years old, a 2010 International engine, the first out at our main station, is 15 years old. This is the only new fire truck that Mountain Park has ever purchased, the only new one. We've always been very frugal, bought used equipment that's serviceable that we could use to fit into our budget. We have a 1995 Freightliner engine that's 30 years old, and that's the second out at our main station. 2006 Chevy brush truck that's 19 years old. By the current NFPA 1901 Annex D standards, the fire trucks have a 15-year lifespan with a cap at 25 years. So you can see a lot of our fire trucks by definition, and we all know that how well they're taken care of and mileage and whatnot does matter. But by definition, from NFPA standard, they're all out of service. They're not serviceable anymore, which we all realize they are, but we're just making do at this point. Our ISO rating is currently in evaluation, and it's underway at Mountain Park. Any small added tax would be negated by an increased ISO insurance rating. Incidentally, the NFPA 1901 standard on apparatus is the standard also used by ISO, so that will cause an issue when we go to get ISO rating lowered. We currently have the new substation, which we're very proud of, and our loan on that is $314,784, and we've made 2 payments on it so far. So you can see how with the substation coming on board, the cost of that, and our equipment and apparatus is really in need of repair and really in need of replacing at this point. Some of it, not all of it, but a tax decrease really, really hurts us because we are very frugal at Mountain Park. We don't have a $300,000.
Just spent 20,000 on engine one.
Yeah, our
Getting it
newest
fixed.
truck, the 2010 International engine, we just paid a $20,000 bill on that to do a light upfit and general repairs on that since it is out of warranty. So even our newest truck just cost the fire department $20,000. So anyway, to make a long story short, we would like to ask for a 2-cent tax increase, which I know, gasp, that's not something we really want to do. But I could see that with, you can see that we have initiated tax cuts in the past ourselves, and the tax rates have been dropped in Mountain Park in the past. And we run such a fine line on our budget that it could be detrimental to our fire department if we lose any more money. So.
Also, when the new station went in, the substation went in, everybody in that park 5 miles from that station went from a 10 to a 9. They didn't have a 10 is not a fire rate. I mean, it's no fire rating. So your insurance, suffers from that. So after we built the substation, it went to a 9S 5 miles from her. So everybody up there actually has a fire rating now. And we're
we're working on our water points and we get that, to me, I like to be able to see the entire district go to a 7 at least. So we're working on water points, and that would save even more money for the whole district. I mean, but we got a big district, but we're a rural. I mean, then like North Carolina has about 1,700 acres of land in our district that we don't get taxes off of it. We cover it.
That's the disadvantage of being rural, the water point.
Yeah, but we, they got property that about almost $4 million of property that we don't get taxed. We don't get no taxes from.
Yeah.
So, but, the area towards the river where we put the substation it's growing. I mean, where it used to be few landowners, now it's been divided up and there are large houses and stuff going up there. So in the future, we will have to cover the area just like we do, towards the intersection of Mountain Park. They're building bigger houses and people are coming in from out of state and larger houses. So we'll have to eventually get a new truck up there that will, just to keep our fire protection at the same standard we are now. And that's all we really, Mountain Park, we don't really try to go above, the fire protection in our community is number one, but we try to keep it, to what we actually need. And I've been in the department for 30 years, and I see that part of the district is growing, and eventually we're gonna have to grow with it to cover it, so. And what I've added up to at 1%, at 98%, it's only like 21,000 some dollars, and if you double that to 2, it's about 40 some thousand dollars is really what we're only gaining from all our tax, in our district. And he did get the new budget to you, email, Angela,
Did you email it today?
yesterday.
Yesterday?
I have a copy of it in.
Okay, I'll check and see if I received it. I honestly can't remember. I switched out so many.
Okay. Well, I mean, it changed so quick there and
I
back and
know,
forth.
I
so-
apologize, yes.
So, anyway, any questions for us?
So Laura, on the property tax estimates, revenue estimates sheet that we have, Mountain Park is showing at a 98% collection rate, 137,591, is that correct?
Yes, for just property tax, and then on the second page is the motor vehicle tax. That would be with the revenue neutral rate.
So that's revenue neutral rate.
Yes, sir.
So if you go to the current rate, 55.2, that is at a 98%, they're looking at 155, not to say that that's where this is headed. And then, so you have to add the motor vehicle to the property tax.
Yes, sir. And on the screen, I actually used the 97% collection rate to show the difference between the revenue neutral and the current tax rate.
Excuse me, I didn't even know we had anything on the screen here.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
And also at the bottom is their estimated revenue and its property and motor vehicle tax for the current fiscal year. Can I have a look at your the updated budget? Because we think maybe we did switch it out.
So what is the revenue neutral rate that you have figured up for the valuations, for the new valuations? What is that rate, Laura?
I'm sorry, we were having a side
It's
conversation.
in green,
Green.
top and bottom.
Okay. All right, so. No, I'm talking about countywide. Is it on there?
Right now, countywide 49.2.
49.2 is the revenue neutral rate countywide. And currently we're 55.2. So we would have to drop it 6 cents, 6.47 cents. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
for the
I
opportunity.
commend you boys. Y'all have run a very conservative fire department and you've done a good job over there and thank you for what you do there. So, yeah.
Thank y'all for coming out. All right, next is Pilot Knob. Good evening.
How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Good. Keith, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go right ahead.
Okay. We appreciate the opportunity to appear for you tonight to talk about our budget request. Have you had an opportunity, Laura, did you give them the additional information that we sent over also, the 2 pages?
Let's see. So is it, yes, they have that in their
Okay,
binders.
good deal. I'm not sure if you've had an opportunity to take a look at that yet or not. Again, we're here this year. Before, we were the lowest tax rate in this county. With the adjusted revenue neutral, we're still the lowest. What we're asking for would put us, I think, at number 2 behind State Road, which would be the lowest if you did not grant them a tax increase also. So we're here to ask for an increase of 0.0128. Now, I figured the budget at 98%, and I think you figured it at 97 is what the numbers that you might have. But basically, you know, we came last year, we've never asked for a tax increase until last year. And we got put on hold because of your consultant's report. And that's been presented to y'all. I'm not sure what direction that you all want to head, but, you know, we went back, readjusted our figures, learned to live within our means last year, but it was tough. You know, if you read that report, it kind of focused in on just a couple of our apparatus. Our whole fleet on average is 18.33 years old. We have a first out engine that's 2 years old, but there's a lot of other apparatus that we have that are up in the 27 to 34 range. So, you know, we're not here asking for a new apparatus, but we are asking for some increases in various areas of our budget. If you look at the year over year, what we had last year and what we're asking for the current year, you can see some significant increases in maintenance. It's taken quite a bit of money to keep those vehicles on the road so that we can respond. If you look at the consultant's report, look at that information that I provided, kind of the midway of the first page there, it shows some of the accolades that Pilot Knob has earned through the years. Some of the things that we do for the community. Pilot Knob and Pilot Mountain is a pretty busy place with different events that the town has going on that we have to cover. Just the nature of the town and our community and the businesses there provides some unique things for us. But, you know, I'm happy to say that we respond to more incidents than any other volunteer fire department, because we are just a fire department, not a rescue squad. That's on page 176 of the consultant's report. I have the best first due response time than any other Surry County volunteer fire department. That's page 196. And that's 7 minutes and 36 seconds, 80% of the time. We do have paid staff, but they also supplement that with a number of volunteers. We have 27 volunteers on staff. 27% of our budget currently is dedicated to paid staff to help us meet that 14 minutes, 6 people on scene, 80% of the time that NFPA requires, or recommends, excuse me. We're in the top 5 fire departments for response to incidents, and that's no incident responses. So we're the 5th department in the county that we can actually get out the door. It doesn't make any difference 24/7. We can put apparatus and people on the scene. Have the second highest volume for emergency calls for service. That's on page 411. We have the lowest cost per call, $114 for in 2023. That's listed on page 303 and 372. And we have the second in address points for service. So typically your address points are structures. Is where you generally assign an address to. So again, we have increases shown in our maintenance and repair for equipment, maintenance and repair for autos and trucks, and then our capital outlay for equipment. So I'll mention that because we have 9 SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus, that are 29 years old, and they're starting to fail. As a matter of fact, I had one on my back not too long ago, and we were having a training, and that unit failed. That's not a good feeling. Fortunately, I was able to step back out of the scene because we were practicing with an outside fire. I've been in the fire service for 40 years, and that still wasn't a good feeling. I've had it happen elsewhere in the past, but it still is not a good feeling. So we're asking to replace 5 of those 9 because our budget simply will not support that. These packs are over $8,000 each. So that is $46,000 in and of itself. That's a very high dollar item. That's probably the singles high dollar item that we have to replace in our budget. So I think the rest of it, if you read the information I gave, and I want to point out, we have a variety of people here to support us tonight, not only officers, we have paid staff, their chief, and we have board members also that are here to support our request. Again, last year was the first year since we've been on taxes that we came before you all and asked for that increase. And we understand the situation you were in. You want to get a better picture of what Surry County overall looked like. And you have that report now in your hand. And we were able to adjust last year, but it's going to be very difficult moving forward because we again are the lowest. And if you do not grant State Road an increase, we would still be the second lowest in the whole county tax rate. So we understand reevaluation took place. We understand the pressures that you all have to try to be fair to everybody. You have your county departments that you have to fund. There's a lot of different things that, everybody's got their hand out asking for more money. And it's difficult on the taxpayer. We understand that. So we tried to put together a package that kind of addressed some of the needs that we have hanging out there. But, we didn't shoot the moon, certainly not by any sort. So y'all have any questions for us or anything?
Is your tax revenue primarily residential and land, or and obviously I'm on the opposite end of the county, you folks, so I don't know much about it. Or is it commercial? Do you have commercial that you're receiving?
We have some commercial there in Pilot Mountain.
Mhm.
The breakdown, I think, would be mostly residential because we have a large area outside of the town of Pilot Mountain that we get funding for. And of course, there's a lot of rural area out there also, but certainly the industry is in Pilot Mountain City.
Yeah, I've looked at these rates over the years, these tax rates and what they generate and account balances and all those things. The fact that you folks are the lowest tax rate in the county, and it still brings in $280,000 a year, or 217 there, 1 cent yielding 67,000. That's interesting. You folks have $500,000 thereabouts in your accounts, saving accounts and that sort of thing, I think.
I think Matthew Norman is our treasurer. So what was the amount that we submitted to the county? Those accounts
I'll
balances?
have to look at the total of everything. Should be just shy of that.
It looked, yeah, it's about 488, I
Added in
think.
here. It's
Okay.
included.
Yeah.
It's a large district, large geographical.
Yeah.
And I know as Mountain Park just mentioned, we had a situation where, we had a water leak on a tank on our ladder truck. And, we got the bill back, it's $12,000. It's over $12,000 for just a water leak repair. And, we can argue semantics all day long. We don't think it's right either, but that's just the way that it is. If you want to do business, that's what it costs. And unfortunately, where the leak was, they had to take half the truck apart to get to it. And it's labor intensive to do that. So, yeah, I think, just my personal opinion, looking through these numbers and seeing what we do, not only for the community and being able to respond to these calls and do these different things that was pointed out in that consultant's report, I think it's a miracle, to tell you the honest truth. we're the lowest, $114 a call. If you compare us to other departments, I think that we are using our money wisely. We took opportunity to try to provide some more incentives for our staff, our volunteers, by using our relief fund money, which is really outside of our budget. Every department gets a relief fund that's basically paid for by insurance companies. They pay it to the state, and the state then submits it back to the individual volunteer fire departments and the relief fund boards if these departments decide what to do with that. And all these were approved uses, but we're using over $11,000 of that money, which is bypassing the taxes for Surry County people, to help fund $11,165 to help fund some of these incentives for volunteers to kind of help them. I hope you read that report. You're losing 1.6 per year. We're fortunate that we're kind of maintaining. We got 27 plus, we've got a couple guys that went through the high school program that have stayed. And, we have some paid staff to supplement our volunteers. Our volunteers are important to us. If you also read that report, it says, your busiest time frames Friday and Saturday night between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. So our pay staff only helps us for like 4 hours during Friday afternoon. 6 o'clock Friday and 6 o'clock Saturday being your busiest times, that falls back on the volunteers. So you can't, at least in our case, we're trying to stay at the current level that we're at. However, we're trying to kind of show some appreciation to our volunteers too by doing some of these extra things for them.
Laura, where is remind me, where is our tax rate history sheet that has the fire departments and their tax rate history? Is that?
It's not in here.
It's not.
It was in our, I think it was in our budget retreat notebook. So I apologize.
It's not in the fire book either.
Unless the consultants put it in there, I can run to my office.
Oh, that's okay. No, I was just curious. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
We're on the 990 form. Where are y'all at on your 990?
So we have terminated our contract with our previous accountants. We have hired another set of accountants, and they are in the process of working on those to try and get those caught up. I know that our treasurer can speak more to that if need be. We're in the process of trying to get those done. I think in general, there was just a lot of confusion about what was done, what was not done. You have a lot of newer folks. You have a new fire chief.
Do you know how far back they hadn't been filed?
At least 4 years.
But you're working on.
Yes.
If you just send Laura an email telling her that.
Okay.
That's what
That would
we're
be-
looking for,
yeah,
either the
that would be
990
wonderful.
or you're working on it.
Right. Yeah, they're,
And you probably said it, but what's the total number of paid staff? Part-time, anytime?
We have
Your
two-
paid staff,
we have 2 full-time, 1 part-time.
2 full-time, 1
One
part.
part-time. So that part-time person works 1 day a week, generally. That's the average that they work. And then we have 2 full-time staff also. So
getting those done, but if you've not filed it in 4 years, you need to ask them to look into reapplying for you.
yes, they're aware.
Number because your other one has voided since.
They're aware of that. Yeah. Yeah, we found that out recently, and we're in the process of working on that. You have a lot of new people, a lot of new leaders here. You have a new fire chief last year. You have a new deputy chief, a new board chairman. You have 2 new board members. We have new officers. We're trying to overcome some of these issues that have plagued us in the past. Not throwing shade at anybody, not throwing anybody under the bus. It is what it is. I told y'all last year, you weren't here, but the rest of y'all were. I told y'all last year I wasn't going to try to sugarcoat anything. I was going to be straight up with you on any issues or problems that we have. And that's where we're at. We're trying to get those addressed, and it's just going to take some time. The accountant is hard at work. It's tax season for him, but he's trying to get that accomplished and going back and and we gave him all the information. It's just really the ball's in his court this time.
Laura, explain something to me here. On their request, budget request form, this is the first page. down at the bottom, the total estimated expenditures is 365,000. You see that?
Yes.
And then right below it, less estimated revenue, 13,000. Amount requested from tax district levy, 352,000. Is that correct?
That is what they requested.
Okay. And
That's what the increase
That's what the increase
would bring in.
Yeah.
Yes, that is their, with their tax rate increase.
okay, and 1 cent's bringing in 67,000. That's a tremendous amount for 1 penny for some of these for a fire department.
District.
No, I mean, I'm just sitting here trying to figure out how, with a 3 cent, with a 3.7 cent tax rate, that they're operating a budget like that, but it's because 1 penny's bringing in 67,000.
Yes, their estimated valuation as of the end of March, 695 million.
And you folks hadn't had a tax increase in many years
Since we went on taxes.
since you've been
Never had
on
one.
in the system.
Make speak, well, actually, we went through a tax decrease. If you look at the history.
And that was probably due to reevaluation. Some of these decreases were due to reevaluation.
Yes, I would believe so.
Yeah, I've been here 15 years and we never reduced one, but yeah, there was some, you're correct. There were some reductions due to reevaluation, yeah.
Same time that it did not offset the cost of simply saying cost of doing business.
Right, yeah, understand.
The revenue neutral that we did since you and I have been on the board.
You probably lost a little
They
revenue,
lost a
actually.
little.
Yeah. Sometimes people gain a little and sometimes you lose a little because it's almost impossible to get a perfect revenue neutral number. I mean, it just don't work. Some people, the best you can do is a pretty sorry job, trying to find that, because the valuations are just all over the place. Yeah, okay, thank you very much, yeah.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
No.
Thank y'all.
Thank you guys very much.
Appreciate it.
Folks, for your job you do.
DC,
you.
glad you spoke up.
Good to see you, DC.
You're just hiding back there.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, are you ready? All right, come on up. Central Surrey. Good evening.
All for your patience.
You're welcome. Thought I saw him come in.
This is the man.
Sure. I'm getting old. That's why I bring these young guys with me.
You don't know old yet.
If you look at the budget that was turned in from Central Surrey for the tax rate fiscal year of 24-25, we're at a 0.091. This year, we're asking for a slight increase of 0.013 to take us up to a 0.104. If you go through the budget and should compare it to last year, we're pretty much staying flat rate where we're at. The major increase is coming in. We're asking the county to help us out to do we're doing the paid guy that the county funds with the 50,000. We're looking at putting a part-time guy there 7 days a week. So if we pay a part-time guy and do it 7 days a week, it's going to come out to about 44,000. So that's where our increase would come in at.
Zero.
0.104 is what it would be, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, last year our request was at 0.091. With the increase this year by the 0.013 would take us to 0.104.
Who else has county paid? Jonathan, do you know that right off the top of your head?
Down, Bannertown,
South Surrey,
South Surrey, and Central Surrey.
Franklin.
Sorry. No, they don't have the county paid.
Oh, okay.
Central Surrey, jot them down. Bannertown?
Bannertown. Oh, no.
Got him.
Sorry, Bannertown is not a part of that, right? No, Bannertown is. Allen Knob.
School camp.
That's 5.
Not South Surrey.
Yeah. They're,
All right, anybody got any questions? That was short and sweet. Are you done?
All right. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're operating on the same budget we were last year, just again, asking for the request to help out, put a,
So you're
Part-time
asking
rhythm.
for a penny and 3/10, right?
that's correct, sir.
Yeah. And a penny's bringing in $35,000. So it's going to bring in $44,000, something like that.
Can you update us on your talks with Karen Dobson?
So we have had a couple meetings with them. Oh,
Microphone, yep, sorry.
we have had a few meetings with them. We are in talks, have good positive meetings, good positive conversation about the probability or possibility of doing a merger, but we have not reached a decision or talked to any logistics as far as nailing down anything specific yet.
Do you
Have another meeting in end of April, so.
Do you have a timeline that you're working on to decide yay or nay?
Not currently a nailed down timeframe. Speaking with Chief Grayson, it would probably not be this year if it does occur. If everything goes through and everybody's in agreement to it happening, it would probably be next year, July 1, probably, roughly.
And where are y'all with your 9?
So I don't know how many years back, but we are in the process. Scotty has been talking with our folks that are handling that for us, and we are in the process of getting that handled.
You sent that email to Laura.
I believe I have, yes.
I don't remember, but that's. Send
If-
another one if
If
you'd
not, I
like.
will send
Okay.
another one.
Okay.
Just make sure you let us know that you're working on it. I mean, that's a big deal. And, might not have been stressed as much in the past, but something, once it was found out, it's, like pilot and rest of the ones that don't have it, it can turn into a big deal.
Yes, sir.
And, we don't want to see y'all go through that.
We don't want, neither do we.
Yeah, we've all got enough problems, don't we? Hey, Laura, on the county's 55% rate countywide, the fire tax rate is not figured in with that. That's on top of the 55, is that correct?
Correct. It's a separate tax rate.
So Central Surrey would have and they're wanting to go to 10 cents. Is that right?
10.4.
10.4. So they would have a 65.6. If we're at 55.2, they'd have a 65.6 tax rate. Is that correct? So you'd have to add the 10.4 to the 55. Is that right?
Oh, yes. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Mhm. Overall tax burden. I'm talking about an overall tax
Overall,
burden.
it would be the 0.552 plus the 0.104. Yes. So, yeah,
So it'd be 65. Is that right?
be 65.6.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of how I was looking at it because it is a tax burden on top of your regular county property taxes.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you guys very much. Thank you for what you
Thank
do.
you. Thank y'all for your patience again.
Chris, do you know if, when we get our comparative tax rates from other counties, if their fire tax rates are figured in with those, we get those sheets from Wilkes and Stokes and Yadkin. Do you know if their fire tax or
They shouldn't be.
they
Should be
shouldn't?
property tax only.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
It's in the county line of the district.
Different, like, some have a county fire tax that's divvied out to each department. Stokes does that. They collect a certain, you know, any amount on the dollar, and they divvy it out to departments. Whereas we set one for each fire department.
Yeah, I like to look at those comparative rates to see what everybody around us is doing, so, yeah.
All right, next up, Skull Camp Fire Department. We'll give a shout out to former Commissioner Larry Johnson. Saw him slide in here a few minutes ago. Glad to have you with us, Commissioner Johnson. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank y'all for allowing me to come up and speak for a few moments. I don't have any big presentation or anything this year. I know y'all are probably accustomed to getting handouts from me each time. So the budget that I submitted may look a little confusing because when I first submitted it, it was before I got any information on what the new revenues were. So our current tax rate is the 0.99. Obviously, we would love to keep that. We're not asking for an increase. We've not asked for one since 2017, I believe, 2018, 2017. But these opportunities for the reevaluations is why we've not asked for increases, because that's kind of what keeps us afloat, keeps us catching back up to inflation and the cost of things and that sort of stuff. So to keep our rate would be our golden request. But some things to keep in mind as far as Skull Camp. I know y'all are familiar with us. You've heard me talk enough. Over the last 10 years, we brought in just shy of $1 million from a FEMA grant that Skull Camp hosted, and that was spread out through the county to help bring radios. We landed about a $400,000 grant for air packs a couple years ago. So we're actively trying to find other revenue streams and to help us have the things that we have. You guys do graciously give us the $50,000 for our full-time person. And knowing that we land a lot of these grants, we actively don't ask for the extra $50,000 because we know other departments need it. But some things to keep in mind this year with the budgets, in addition to the things y'all have already heard about the fire departments. Those FEMA grants, those AFG grants are getting much more competitive. We all see the things that are going on there, and the bulk of those grants are now going to larger cities, which makes it harder for smaller areas to get them, smaller counties, smaller departments. But we're also facing that on the state side. For 15 straight years, Skull Camp got the 50/50 rescue grant or the fire grant in some years. Last year, we got neither. This year, we haven't got the rescue grant, and we haven't heard about the fire grant yet. It's my understanding that's due to some budget shortfalls at the state level, and then what money is there is going to the western part. But I think with everything that come out with the consultants, a lot of questions on how do we fund those. I think this is an opportunity for us to maybe fund some of those programs. So the extra revenue that Skull Camp would receive would go toward implementing some of our 5-year plan projects. One of those is moving into phase 2, possibly phase 3 of our training building. A few months back, y'all may have seen in our social media, we used the $50,000 of COVID money that we brought in to start construction of a training facility. Phase 2 would add the burn room and the drill tower. One reason we did that is part of our recruitment and retention plan. We bring you in, we can train you, we're likely to keep you. It's good quality training. But that training facility also, once we get through phase 3, my plan is to have it certified as a state facility, meaning we maximize ISO points in that training category. Not only for us, but for any department that wants to come train with us. So that would be our big plan. We've also working on the early stages of a truck replacement plan for our engine 2, which is a 27-year-old engine that's housed at the Low Gap station at the old Low Gap school. So it's the oldest engine in our fleet, 27 years old. It's starting to reach that end of life point. And then the other one is our incentive program. We've talked in the past a little bit of what that looks like. So we already do a pay-per-call. We do an incentive staffing that supplements that paid guy. But if you look at the consultants, those missed calls for Skull Camp, those missed calls, like we're 100% 8 to 5 because we have those guys there. So our missed calls are usually late at night. Not only is it hard to get that volunteer to leave work, it has now become hard to get him up at 2 a.m. when he has to go to work. So with the extra revenue, we would kind of like to expand that incentive program some to maybe allow some nighttime staffing as well to cover that shortfall that we have on call response. And we've talked in the past about the training requirements placed on volunteers. We're working on a program that would allow a training stipend. You know, if I can convince that guy to go sit through the 250-hour fire course, you know, his time's valuable for that. So at the end of the day, our budget request would be to maintain what we have and use this opportunity to move us forward and be able to work on these programs. So any questions?
Yeah, 990, y'all in progress.
It was submitted in my county package with insurance and all. I can resend it if I need to.
You get that, Laura?
I'm sorry, what?
990?
So you had submitted it?
Yeah, I sent it with insurance and all that packet of stuff that we send every year.
So it's with your audit information?
Should be, yeah.
Okay, I'll check.
Okay. Yeah. If it's not, let me know and I'll.
No problem. I'll look.
Okay.
That's pretty straightforward.
Try to be. I'm not a math magician, so, you know. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. All right, next up is Westfield. Come on up, Johnson. How you doing tonight?
Good, yourself?
Good, good.
I appreciate y'all inviting us up and letting us take part in this. My name's Jonathan Sutphin, for the ones that don't know me. I wanted to tell you just a little bit about Westfield. Some of you's been out there, some of you haven't. Our ISO rating this year dropped from a 5 to a 4. So that helps primarily our business owners, our churches. We've got 27 different churches in Westfield. It helps them, it helps small business owners to the mostly. We also have started our paid program, our part-time paid program. Since October, we've been able to supply 40 hours a week every month, except for Christmas week. We had enough volunteers in that week to where we didn't have to supply the pay staff during that week. We have roughly 3,600 citizens in our fire districts. We have 17 miles of that fire district out of 46 miles is in Stokes County. So we do get some funding from Stokes County as well. We responded to 460 calls last year. That is the highest number of calls Westfield has seen ever, really. We have 30 members in our department. And the last 3 years, we have really concentrated on our training. And I just want you to take a minute and listen to these numbers. We have 8 advanced certified firefighters, 18 out of the 30 certified firefighters, 16 certified technical rescue technicians. We have 13 emergency medical responders, 5 North Carolina medical responders, 12 members certified in multiple rescue disciplines, for instance, ropes, ag, trench, confined space, stuff like that. 20 certified emergency vehicle drivers, 12 members trained in Officer 1 certification. Every one of our officers are Officer 1 or higher. 7 members are trained in Officer 2 certification. 19 members are classified as Hazmat 1. 6 members are certified as Fire and Life Safety. And we are a medium rescue squad. So over the last 3 to 4 years, we have been running rescue. this makes our second year as medium rescue. Our community over the last 3 or 4 years has kind of got accustomed to us doing a few things, and I'd like to tell you just a little bit about what we do for our community. Every Christmas, we provide a toy drive, and it's gotten huge. It's not a small endeavor anymore, but the toy drive has turned into a food drive for families. It's turned into more things like blankets for different people in the community. I'm just going to read you some numbers. This past Christmas, we delivered 4 to 5 gifts to 250 children in our district, 350 hot meals to the citizens in our district, 350 blankets to the elderly residents, and 250 school bags to schools children. That is our big community outreach around Christmas time. We do that on Christmas Eve. If any one of y'all want to be a part of that and see just what goes on in Westfield, that's a great talking point and a great outreach that our fire department does. We also do a spring fling. That's coming up next week. This outreach touches 250 families on average a year with that. Our fire prevention week, we do a whole week at Westfield Elementary School and a whole week at Nancy Reynolds in Stokes County. So we don't primarily do Nancy Reynolds, but we assist with that one since that's in the Double Creek Fire District. Our trunk or treat brings in over 300 kids and then their families to our community. And one thing that we have went for this year is we have put in over 60 fire or smoke detectors in different houses that did not have them last year at this time. So that's something that we've kind of stepped into. We haven't done that in the past. The past year, we have kind of encouraged our fire department and our medical responders every time they go out to a house to see if they have a smoke detector, and if not, we can put one up while we're there. We are asking for the $50,000 capital grant this year. We asked 4 to 5 years ago. I'm not 100% sure on that. Whenever we built our new building or done their addition to our building, at the time we had to make some choices. The number was just too big at the time. We couldn't pay for every one of the renovations that we needed to pay for. So I have give you 4 different things here that needs to happen in our station. The replacement of 4 garage doors on our old bays. Those are 1983 garage doors. 3 of them have spaces in between the garage door and the wall that big. It had, over the last 4 or 5 years, we have over tripled our propane costs just in that area. I don't know what's shifted or what, but the gaps are getting bigger. We have 3 metal frame doors in that same area. Those metal frame doors are rusted out, and you can see straight through the bottom of them. So that was one area to where 4 years ago, we thought we could get by a few more years. It's time to replace those. When the consultant come by, we've known this problem has happened, but he brought it to our attention. When we moved our bigger trucks from our older bays to the new bays, we paved half the parking lot, and we went 8 inches down with rebar, perfect for the type of trucks, the weight of the trucks. Well, the previous cement is still there. It was 3.5 to 4 inches thick with no rebar, no fiber. This was done in the 90s. That's tore up. We're getting chunks out of that this big. We've had 2 estimates. The one that you see right there is the cheapest estimate that we had, and both of those guys said that it's months before huge chunks come out of that area. Whenever I say huge, I'm pothole type size, not just little pebbles. From where the trucks are turning into the parking lot, and the weight of that is just destroying that area. The 4th thing is parking lot lighting. Whenever we built, we went by code. So the code states you have to have so many lumens per parking space in that area. It's not near enough. What we have seen over the last couple of years, we've started getting vandalized. We've been broken into. Luckily, we've caught the people that's been broken in or trying to break in. We've had a drug problem around our fire department. In the back, there's zero lighting because there's no door back there, and we have 40 spaces back there for people to just go back there and do whatever they want to do. And that's visible from Family Dollar. So anytime you go to Family Dollar, you can easily see a spot to where no one can see you from the road. So that last area would be for extra lighting in those areas. We've already had that priced out, and that was the lowest bid for that. So I want to speak just a minute about our budget. We done, seems like we've done 4 or 5 budgets, but we've probably really done 2. The first one was not revenue neutral. And whenever we were doing our budget, we have a finance committee of 6 people that goes in there and we spent 4 or 5 weeks going through this and figuring this out. So we went with the non-revenue neutral number, and most of the increase from what we are now to the revenue neutral number was for our personnel. So whenever we got those new numbers Friday or whenever that was, we went back and we cut our personnel line item. So from what we were trying to do, full-time guy, 40 hours a week, 365 days out of the year, that might not be possible if we continue to do the non-revenue neutral stuff. With that, it's helped our department. The part-timer or the paid staff has helped our department tremendously. So I think you have the 185,739 number, correct? So you can see that that's the very last line item, $22,300 or $836 is our new number for personnel. And instead, that was closer to the $35,000 to $38,000 range there. So that takes out a tremendous chunk of what we had originally thought. The last thing that I want to talk a little bit about is the fire consultant study. And I commend Commissioner Harris and Commissioner Hyatt for coming to our last meeting. One of the issues that the fire consultant brought up was our communication between the fire chiefs and the commissioners. And I appreciate y'all coming and being able to get into a dialogue back and forth with some questions and answers. I really do appreciate that. And I hope that continues. I hope we can get a good enough relationship to where we can start coming to your meetings and y'all can continue to come to our meetings. I would really appreciate that as the president of the association. In that fire consultant package, he gave, I counted roughly 10 different suggestions that would make our fire service a huge difference in the next 5 years or so. The first one, the stability of funding, the enhancement of volunteer retention and recruitment. Some of that money that I had in my budget was going for recruiting and retention of our current firefighters. We do run the same plan as 72 does with their incentive plan. So that's how we staff the station some. The implementation of incentive payments for volunteers, updating our fire contracts, our county fire contracts, funding and staffing for capital needs, ISO improvements, countywide roving crew, that was a truck with a couple people on it, the introduction of the high school program in the actual high schools instead of the community college, the improved communication dispatch area, and then the 10th one was enhance the fire marshal office support staff. And Westfield is 100% behind every one of those things. So personally, I have come up with a 5-year plan. You can throw it in the trash, but I'd like for you to read it beforehand and just see where Westfield thinks that the next 5 years needs to go with this plan.
Thank you, John.
County manager already has this plan. Myself and Chief Lowe back there came to him on Thursday with this plan and talked to him about it. So it is within his eyes as well. Would you like a plan too?
You have it.
So with that being said, Westfield is not asking for an increase, but we would ask to stay within our revenue of 9.8 cent, I think is what it was. Our cents there. If we went in revenue neutral, we would be under 9 cent. 8.35. So with that, sorry, it's right there. With that money, that would basically be our personnel staff, and we continue to have incentives for our current volunteers. One of the departments mentioned our Fireman Relief Fund. We have maxed that out with incentives. We now pay for all of the retirement packages for our firefighters. That's $120 a year. If they've been in the department so long, and then at the age of 55, they get $185 per month back. So our fire department has put that forward. We also pay workman's comp out of that. We also pay our association dues, North Carolina state dues out of that as well. So we're actually going in and saving the taxpayers' money that is not in this budget right here. It comes out of that fund also. Do you have any questions for me?
Laura, I noticed on some of these departments, we have that sheet at the end that has them list their bank balances and stuff. I didn't see that one for Westfield. Is it
I can tell you right offhand.
just more or less, just
Our
ballparkish?
savings account has roughly $100,000 in it.
Okay.
We have a donations account that only goes towards stuff like drinks. It goes towards our Christmas dinner. It's stuff that's not in our budget is $15,000, and that's totally off donations from our community. None of that is budgeted stuff. So those are the two items that we currently have, or other accounts that we currently have.
So about a little over 100,000 in one, and then the donation account.
Correct. That 100, it depends on which time of the year you go to. Our that was checking account. Our savings account is roughly $50,000 right now.
So
Our checking account is roughly $100,000. Our major bills come in May and June. So within the next 2 months, our checking account will be under $50,000, but we've got to plan for that so that we don't go too low with it.
Right. Okay.
Our building payment, our truck payment, and our insurance all comes out in May and June. So if you had asked me that a month ago, it would have been a little bit higher than that, but
Yeah. For sure. All right.
so we have been lucky over the last few years. We have applied for grants. We had a $178,000 SAFER grant. That will actually run out this year. We have reapplied for that and turned that money in, or that application in. We also have applied for the state fire grant every year. And since I've been fire chief for the last 11 years, we've been able to receive that. We have applied for the rescue grant the last 3 years. Excuse me, we did not get that this year, but the previous 3 years we did get that. That's basically how we built our rescue squad, is from that grant. We got a FEMA grant for $490,000 for air packs. So we replaced every one of our air packs 2 years ago. Just to give you reference, an air pack costs $8,500 to $9,500 right now. So we saved the taxpayers a huge bit of money there. We were getting to the point to where we had 30-year air packs, and we were going to have to start replacing 2 a year, 3 a year, just so that we could keep up. And we got lucky to get that grant.
you know, dollar total about how many dollars worth of grants you all got this year?
This year,
Or maybe, let's just say
yes,
20.
we got a $60,000 state grant. That's 50/50. And, we applied for the, rescue grant. We didn't get it. We applied for the forestry grant. We did not get that. So just in grants this year, that's where we stand.
About 50,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, 30,000.
30,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 50/50 grant. I noticed you asked a bunch of questions about the 990 form to the other departments. So since 1993, we'd had a lawyer write us a letter stating that we did not have to turn in our 990 forms every year. So we had turned that into with our packet every year, and it got caught this year evidently. So we have reapplied for that. We're waiting. It's a 90-day period. We're waiting for that 90-day period to go into effect, and after that, it should go through. Chris Knopf over here, he has been updated every step of the way with that.
Might add, that is a good Christmas dinner.
I appreciate it.
Good awards banquet,
Thank you.
a lot of good, and you went over the training and all that, so that's a lot of work going on.
It is. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Jonathan, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Everything y'all do. All right, State Road.
South Surry.
State Road won't be here.
They're coming?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Just in time, Tony. Come on up. South Surry.
Got a little money left after.
Well, you're sit down, ain't nothing left.
I don't need no money.
There you go.
I believe we're good. We paid everything off now. We have 3 buildings paid for and all of our vehicles are paid for, so.
Lord, we can cut your tax rate down to nothing.
Well, that's the bad news. Your survey said I need 3 new engines, so I need $2.8 million.
All the state of North Carolina. Call 911, somebody.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. I do need 3 trucks according to that paper, but, I just kind of let you know South Surrey is still alive, and I wanted to ask about the tax neutral rate. You know, are you gonna lower my fire tax and I'm gonna still draw the same budget? That's my question.
We don't know. We haven't had schools yet and so hadn't had a recommendation yet, so.
Revenue neutral rate projected from finance, if it were to be revenue neutral, would be 7.81, 7.81.
And that would put me at that, 333,000.
Actually, it would go to 344,006, $344,006.
Okay. And I'm currently at where?
5708.
Okay.
Well, currently for this fiscal year,
389.
Yeah, 389, it looks like.
well, for this fiscal year, your estimated revenue is $333,664.
Okay.
With that is, with total property and motor vehicle tax, 389,716.
That would be, their current tax rate for fiscal year 26.
Look at that very bottom, very, very bottom.
So if you left me where I'm at, that's what I would get according to the collection rate.
Correct.
So when we all make that decision, what are you gonna lower it or what you gonna do? Bill, I'm looking at you.
We don't know yet.
You don't know?
Have you got a crystal ball you can rub on?
No, if I did, I probably wouldn't be here tonight.
Got any advice, John?
No advice. Don't buy no fire trucks. That's expensive. I found it. Yeah. We just going to ride.
Get one.
We just gonna have to ride in some old ones a little while. Or, I mean, you know, they pass pump tests and all that stuff. So, and Johnson's talking about the grants. I write every year and get as many grants I can every year, but it's near impossible to get a truck on a grant. I mean, they'll tell you got one shot in big numbers. I mean, it just don't happen. So you can't get no help there. Your air packs, you can do good and you turn out gear and stuff like that. I applied for 30,000, I think that's what he said. So it'd be 15,000 cost to us and 15 out of the state.
Those 50/50s are pretty good.
They good. And I mean, I've had good luck with Purdue Chicken Company. I've got grants from several smaller companies like that. So I try to get everything I can without, I don't like to ask year after year. Forester grant he was talking about as well. Most of that went to the mountains. Those people needed a lot worse than we did. So most everybody here got drawed out.
Getting a lot of it these days, which
Yeah.
they need.
That's okay. We got our part, so. That's really all I want to just ask about that budget and see sort of how it was gonna work out. If you look at my papers, my treasurer fills out, he wouldn't come with me. I hope he's watching this and listening to it. He don't fully understand how to fill that thing out. He either way low or way high. So when you're high, you got to tell him why you want that, you know, but I think we'll be okay if you don't cut our budget.
Y'all still got your 990?
We do it every year. Been doing it ever since I've been there. Yeah, we
It shows on
send,
here, it shows on our paper, no.
yeah, we do it every year.
I'll check all the
Yeah.
audit documents and go through everything I've got and see if
Okay.
it's in there.
After the county gets done, we take it straight to King down there, and that company does it every year in King down there. They went up a lot on it this year. I don't know why, but normally it's like $1,100 to get that thing done. It was like 20-some hundred this year.
Well, they found out a lot of people didn't have it.
But we've been doing it every time. I mean, I thought we had to do
You're supposed to,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was my understanding. I know some of them said they hadn't been doing it, but that's really all I got, unless y'all got any questions. Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Come
Tom.
get that carry-on. Tony,
Huh?
come get that carry-on.
I was gonna ask you, I could have picked it up while ago, but I couldn't text you to text you.
It's out of the carport.
All right, please.
Anybody else got anything? Appreciate Jimmy Ashburn, Fire Marshal, being with us tonight. Think all the fire departments did show up tonight. John Whitaker, Sheriff's Department, appreciate you being here tonight. Anybody got anything else?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Goins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hyatt. Any discussion?